streaming on Twitch. Yada, yada, yada. Testing the audio on Twitch. Let's see if we have sound. We do have sound. Excellent. All right. So then we can go Dementia Radio now. And recording in 3, 2, 1.
Recorded live on DementiaRadio.org, it's the Funny Music Podcast. Brought to you by FuMP.com, where you can download new free comedy songs twice a week. Now, here's your hosts, Devo Spice and the great Luke Ski.
Hey, Devo Spice.
Hey, Luke Ski.
Hey, we got Dead by 28 in the house.
Hey, Devo. Hey, Luke Ski.
Welcome back, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming. This is we planned this
666 episodes.
Yes, we planned. Yes. You guys planned this well in advance. You're like, hey, I want to release a song so that I'm on episode 666. So here you are. Welcome to episode 666 of the Funny Music Podcast for Thursday, March 23rd, 2023. The title of this week's episode is, of course, as we established last week, the episode of the Beast. And your job is to
Satan!
work that into our conversation somehow. We will have a pre-recorded interview with Jace McLean coming up later in the show for his song. And I never did hear back from Steve Goodie, so I wasn't able to schedule anything. And he's not here, so we'll just talk about him behind his back. It's fine. It's fine. So, let's do this.
Let's get caught up with what Devo and Luke have been up to since last week. Or else Devo, if Luke failed and didn't show up.
Hey, what?
No, he's right.
So, Luke, what you been up to?
Well, given what's been going on, I think you should go first. Because there are things that need explaining, possibly.
So, I've had a week. It started on Friday when I had to prep for my colonoscopy that I had.
Whee!
So, and the funny thing about this is the bowel prep they gave me is actually a product that the company I work for handles the advertising for, like, the web stuff. I programmed the website for this bowel prep. And actually my team recently updated it. I was only peripherally involved as, managerial type duties, supervision type stuff. But we just went live with a new update last week, and now there's some post-launch bugs we're working on now. And so I've had this website in my head for weeks now, day in and day out, and now I'm staring at the product going, I actually have to drink this shit. And it wasn't pleasant. No, it wasn't. The colonoscopy itself was fine. Everything's good. I don't have to go back for 10 years, thank God. And in a related note, if anyone wants pictures of the inside of my asshole, I now have some. So
Album cover.
Yep. Don't you got a new album coming out?
I do. Talking out my ass. Yeah, I can just the picture. Yeah.
Superimpose your mouth on there, you're golden.
Yeah.
It'd be great for the on CD art, so that the hole is right in the middle.
Right in the middle of the hole. Yeah. So then I get an email from our media host, because the FuMP has two hosts. We have the most of the website and the database are handled on one host, and then all the MP3s are handled by another host, because the web host only gives you so much space, and then for the media stuff, we got one of these unlimited plans. And I asked them when we set up the site 5 years ago, I guess, when we moved to this particular host, I'm like, is what I'm doing okay? I'm like, we're just going to be parking the MP3s here, and we're hosting the website on another site. It is a live site. It's not like we're, seeding BitTorrent with these files or anything. This is legitimate business. And they said, oh, yeah, no problem. And, of course, it was an unlimited hosting. And sometime over the weekend, I guess, whenever the most recent song went up, we broke the 100 gigabyte mark on their server, and that set off a little red flag in their system. And we got an email that we were violating their terms of service by parking all these MP3s here, and we weren't allowed to do that. And I was like, what are you talking about? We talked about this. You said it was fine. And so I replied to the email that they sent me. So and I told them that, and I'm like, and they, they were threatening to suspend the account and shut everything down, and they said that, my account was going to be deleted in 7 days. And I'm like, look, I will move to another host if you want me to, but I'm going to need more than 7 days to get it set up, because 100 gigs is a lot to upload and it takes time. So I replied to them very politely, and the next day I get another email from them. Due to your lack of response, your account has been suspended. And I went, what lack of response? I responded to the email you sent me. What else did you want? And sure enough, at that point, all of the streaming and downloads on the FuMP were broken. And I couldn't even log into the FTP site anymore. So then I went to the website and looked at the ticket that they opened for me, and noticed that my email reply wasn't part of the ticket. Every other ticketing system I've ever used, if you reply to the email, it attaches itself to the ticket. So I don't know what podunk email, ticketing system they're using, but they never got my email. So I responded to the ticket and I said, hey, I responded to your email yesterday. Here's what I said. Here's what's going on. And they said, yeah, you can't do that. You're going to have to fix this. And I'm like, okay. So what they recommended was upgrading to a VPS, a virtual private server, which is another service they offer, which is actually the same service we have on our other host for the main website and stuff. It's much more faster, much more RAM, stuff like that. But it's not geared towards just hosting MP3s. It's geared towards actual website work. So, and they were having a sale, 50% off for the first month. And I was like, fine, just do it. Because I'm thinking at this point, this is the path of least resistance towards getting the site working again. So I was like, let's just get the site working and I'll deal with anything else later. So I paid for the upgrade, and then they screwed up the configuration when they set it up, and it still didn't work. And then I got on a support chat with them, and they're like, oh yeah, we had this configuration file wrong, we'll fix it. And then they fixed it, and now the site is back up and working again, thank God. So now my plan is to actually move all these media files to another host, because once the 50% off sale is done, we're going to be being charged, like, I think it's $116 a month, which is up from $8 a month from what we were paying before. So this is like, what's that, a 6x increase, 600% increase? And I'm like, no, I'm not paying that. This is stupid. So DreamHost, who we use for the main FuMP hosting stuff, actually has a media hosting plan. It's, I guess it's unlimited hosting, but they charge you by the gigabyte. So, and 100 gigabytes of storage is $2.50 a month. And I'm like, yep, that's good. That's within our budget. Let's do that. They also charge you for bandwidth, so it's going to cost us more than that. But still, it should be a long time before we come anywhere near $116 a month with this DreamHost account. So I'm going to be migrating all the files behind the scenes. It shouldn't affect anything as far as the functionality of the website. I'm just going to, move all the files to DreamHost, and then once everything is set up on working on DreamHost, I will then do the DNS change, and FuMPmedia.com will now point from our current host to the new host, and it should be seamless to the users. So yeah, I've had a week. It's been fun. Oh my God. In happier news, last night my son was inducted into the National French Honor Society as well. He was inducted into the regular National Honor Society a month or two ago. Last night he's like, oh yeah, we have this induction ceremony tonight. And we're like, what induction ceremony? What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, National French Honor Society. And I'm like, you speak French? What? So
We, Dad, we.
right, exactly. So that was my week. How was your week, Luke?
Well, my week also involved a colonoscopy in some way. So I have had one scheduled to happen tomorrow for the past, I think, at least couple of months. And I had the prescription thing to get all the prep stuff, and I had been, I asked for days off work, so that I had, the day before all clear, and just et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then a week or two ago, a friend of ours from the Disney fan podcasting circles, named Chandler, has a podcast called Podcast Without Cool Acronym, which is basically mainly about Disney television animation and all of the shows that they've been making. And I've been on the show before for other things, and he is going to be doing an episode about season 1 of The Ghost and Molly McGee, which is a show that I absolutely love and absolutely would love to work on. And his guests are going to be the 2 co-creators of the show. So he asked me if I would like to be on, and I was like, yes, absolutely, I would love to be on the show, so that I could, virtually, meet the 2 co-creators, and, hopefully, maybe I'd make an impression on these guys. So if the show is continuing into more seasons, perhaps that would be a good way for me to be like, hey, I'm a storyboard artist, please hire me to be on your amazing, hilarious show featuring Dana Snyder as a wacky ghost.
That'd be awesome.
So turns out that they were going to have the scheduled date for that podcast was tomorrow at 3:30, and my colonoscopy was tomorrow at 10 in the morning, and there was no real guarantee that I would either be done with it by then and back at my apartment, and also that I would be far enough past the anesthesia and stuff that I'd be with it enough to actually be on the podcast. And and of course there's the other problem of when you do this, at least at the place I'm going to, they said you have to have somebody drop you off and somebody else pick you up to take you home. You can't
same
drive
for me.
yourself there,
Yeah.
and you can't even take an Uber or a Lyft home. It has to be another person checking you in and checking you out. So I had to try to figure out, well, who in my life is available. And I had set up, after reaching out to some friends, like Tony Goldmark said he would have been available to do it. So I was still trying to make sure all of that was set and things were finally near. I was even trying to see if I could get the colonoscopy scheduled for slightly earlier in the day, so that I could do that and hopefully still be okay for the podcast. And then I was talking to Tony, and he's like, given what a potential opportunity this is for you to meet these guys and make an impression on them, is there any way you can reschedule the colonoscopy so that you can make sure you're totally there and with it for this thing, because it's potentially important to your career that this happens for you. And after he said that to me, I'm like, man, he's right. I really, it's I don't want to make it seem oh, I'm afraid of getting it done. It's no, I'm not afraid of getting it done. It's I'm afraid of missing this opportunity. So
yeah, he's right. That's absolutely right.
Yeah, so I'm I called the doctor's office that set it up, and we were able to reschedule it, so it'll be happening Friday, April 21st, I think is what we set it up for. So it's okay, fine. It's only a few more weeks down the road. It'll still get taken care of, whatever. So so I ended up, it's now I have, I had today and tomorrow off so I'm all ready but I could be in this podcast, yay. And then a few hours after, or no, the day after I made that change, I heard from Chandler saying, "Oh, the guys can't make it that day. We have to reschedule it for Monday."
Oh, really?
God hates comedy musicians.
So yeah, so basically, so I don't know the exact time yet, but I happen to also have this Monday off. So it's hopefully on Monday, that podcast is happening and I'll be on it, and that's great. But it's like I went through all of this rigmarole just to end up being like, now I have this Thursday and Friday off and nothing going on except for this podcast. So
let's party.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So whatever. So yeah, that was, my biggest thing of the week, other than me working my stupid day job. And also, finally getting around to answering the question, now that MarsCon is over, now what do I do? Which basically is, taking a look at all of the things that I, have been, I had been putting off or ignoring or just being like, oh, I can take care of that after MarsCon. Like, well, now it's after MarsCon. Here's a big, pile of Post-it notes of all these things that I have, stuck to my window over there, trying to organize what I should be working on next and what's the most important and blah, blah, blah. So I finally got to the point where I got all of that organized and I got a handful of the quick, easy things done. And then I asked Kyle and Lindsay to come over yesterday and just so I had somebody to talk to and somebody with a little more wisdom of the animation industry. Like, okay, what things should I focus on making the next priority to, stay on my path of, trying to find a boarding job and also trying to find a better, regular day job. I'm also going to set up an appointment to go get my vehicle inspected for lift so that I have that as a fallback position if I ever end up, in a situation where I can see that I'm not going to have enough money to cover the rent and bills, that I'll have an option to be like, well, I guess I'll go out and lift drive for, whatever number of hours until I can get caught up. Because just to give you an example of the kind of thing I've been, trying to make sure, make sure I'm being responsible with money and staying on top of things. There were a few things I bought out in Minneapolis, on Friday for MarsCon, just because I always kind of run around and pick up things that I either know I need or think I'm going to need. And then there were 3 items from 2 different chain stores that I ended up not needing. Then I brought them back here with me. So this week, I went to those 2 different chain stores and returned those items so that I could get the money back into my bank account for those 3 items. And the total amount I got back for those for that refund was $9.18. So
living large, man. Living large.
Yeah, that's how my life is going. It's when they, all those things about like, hey, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Well, 5 years ago, I thought I was gonna still have an animation career, and now I'm, delivering weed and getting refunds for less than a $10 bill to make sure that I'm being responsible with my money. So, anyway, that's my life.
Delivering weed sounds kind of fun.
Well, it's not like you get to, sample the products while you're working or anything.
Don't get high in your own supply.
Yeah.
So we have a question in the chat. Somebody wants to know what's in this box behind me. The answer is nothing. It's an empty box. But what's going in this box are Luke Ski's new CDs. This is the box I'm going to ship them to you in. I think they'll all fit in here. So
let's see what's in the box.
Nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Stupid.
So the jewel cases finally arrived today. So I spent this afternoon stuffing CDs. They're not ready yet. They're not. So I'm not going to be able to get them out tomorrow. I will finish them up tomorrow night, and they will go out Saturday. So you'll have them early next week, I would imagine.
Yeah, because Father Beast is out there, and I think he might have ordered a CD. So I need to fulfill the order of the Beast.
Close enough. I'm giving it to you.
Man.
All right. So, Dead by 28. What have you guys been up to?
Lots of making music and, recording.
Playing Diablo 4 beta and watching The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I watched Mandalorian.
I'm getting your names on top of you. So
cute.
There we go. Okay. So you guys posted a song that you plan to post for weeks. Give us
I think it was done right around the beginning of the year.
Oh, okay. So give us a quick intro to the song. We'll give it a listen.
Cool. What's the song about?
What? Oh, geez, it's about whores. It's a song about whores.
There you go. Here is She's a Horror by Dead by 28. Yeah. I love your music. I really do.
Well, thank you. That means a lot to me.
It's kind of like Worm Quartet. You can't pigeonhole it into any one sound, but it just sounds so cool no matter what you do with it.
I also really like Worm
Quartet.
I'm sorry.
Speaking with the words in the mouth, and yes.
Yeah. Not good with the talking.
Well, it's great to have you on an interview show. No, so tell us about this song.
what's the, like? Well, how did I come up with the song?
Sure. Start there.
Well, I was, watching a horror movie, and there was
All right, back up. Which
horror
one?
movie.
Which one? Because I'm a horror fan.
I don't remember exactly which horror movie. It was like your general horror movie, but there was a horror in the horror movie, and like I was just like, there's a lot of horrors in horror movies, and it may have been a Rob Zombie movie because he makes a lot of horror movies with his horror wife, and that got me thinking about how I never put yas or yows in my songs, and like I really like yas, yeah, and yows. So I should make a Rob Zombie parody about horrors because he makes horror movies.
Okay. Is this a direct parody of one of his songs? Or is it just supposed to kind of sound like him?
Style parody.
Okay,
a parody of like his music in general. Like,
yeah, okay.
Originally, it was going to be a swing song, but after he got this Rob Zombie idea, we just threw it all into a Dead by 28 style parody.
I think that would work. Yeah, I think this subject matter works better as a Rob Zombie song rather than a swing song, but you never know. Could have gone either way.
Since this is a 666 episode, can I swing it around and like ask you 6 questions?
Sure.
I got questions for you. So, do you like Rob Zombie or White Zombie? Do you have a preference of Rob Zombie or White Zombie?
I don't have a whole lot of experience with White Zombie or Rob Zombie. The only thing I know is like what I saw in passing on MTV when I was in high school. And I think Beavis and Butthead mocked him once or twice on one of their videos. But I never really followed his music. I was never a big fan. I mean, it's not like I dislike him or anything. I just never got into it.
All right. Hey, I'm not judging you. It's just a question.
No, that's fine.
I prefer White Zombie. I'm a White Zombie fan. Rob Zombie's fine, but I like White Zombie. I'm old school. Okay, number 2. Do you have a favorite song of Rob Zombie or White Zombie?
I couldn't even name one. Sorry.
That's all right. Mine is really hard to say because it's from the Beavis and Butthead Do America. There's a part in that movie where they like trip on mushrooms in the desert. It's called Rat Finks, Suicide Tanks, and Cannibal Girls. That's my favorite.
Okay.
White Zombie. Okay, number 3. Do you have a favorite Rob Zombie movie?
I really liked was it House of a Thousand Corpses? Was that it? Yeah.
And then his first horror movie.
Yeah,
that was the one where
the Devil's Rejects was the sequel to that one, right?
Yes, where it's like 70s style.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked House of a Thousand Corpses. Yeah. Devil's Rejects was good too.
Was Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, Devil's Rejects was good too. What'd you think of the Halloween movie he made?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my attitude too. I was like, nah.
The original Halloween movie is like my favorite like horror movie of all time. So it's hard to watch the Robs. Like I just I like the original. Like I haven't even seen like all the sequels. I really want to watch Season of the Witch though because it's the different one.
That's a good film. It's like it stands on its own separately. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Because apparently with the Halloween movies, the original idea was every Halloween they would release a new movie and they wouldn't be connected to each other. It would just be a horror movie for Halloween like called Halloween. Yeah, and then next year there'd be Halloween 2 and it would be different, except that first one was such a huge success that they made a direct sequel to it. And then when Halloween 3 came out, everyone was like, what is this? What?
Yeah. The original is like, that's like a classic slasher. It's like, just got everything.
The Season of the Witch reminds me
Friday
of...
the 13th, the original movie was like a ripoff of Halloween.
Yeah. But the Friday the 13th... the Season of the Witch is very reminiscent of this Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode where people put on costumes and then become the costume. And it's, all hell breaks loose on Halloween night because weird things are happening. And like my favorite thing is Spike, one of the vampires, just walking down the middle of the street, taking in all the mayhem, going, wow, this is neat.
I never watched the show.
That's
I was
great.
a big fan of the old movie with Luke Perry and.
Oh, the show is so much better than that movie. I haven't been able to sit through that movie.
I know, but like.
Paul
Okay, but we
Rubens
got
is
off on
awesome in
tangent.
that
I still
movie.
have questions left.
Question 4.
All right, go for it.
Question number 4: Count Chocula, Frankenberry, or Booberry?
Count Chocula, absolutely. Now
Yes, me too. Count Chocula.
here's the interesting thing about that is this past Halloween was the first time in my life I had had any of the monster cereals.
Yeah.
And, yeah. I was 49 years old. I just turned 50. So at age 49, I finally had some monster cereals.
congrats.
And I kind of figured that Count Chocula would be the only one that I liked because I don't like fruit flavored cereal. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Frankenberry was okay and Booberry was okay. I hate Fruit Loops. So I wouldn't, if it would tasted anything like that, I wouldn't like it at all. They were okay. I ate them, but Count Chocula was actually really good.
I don't know. It's classic. Okay. Number 5. Favorite horror villain?
Favorite horror villain or horror villain?
Favorite horror
Yes.
villain?
That's tough. I want to say maybe Bride of Chucky.
Bride of Chucky or the Bride?
The Bride. Well, you said favorite
She is-
horror villain, so
Yeah. I like her too. My favorite is in The Invisible Man.
the Invisible Man himself or somebody in.
The Invisible Man in general.
Oh, okay.
Like I really like the original The Invisible Man from the 40s or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's
a good movie, yeah.
He does the science thing and on himself, and then he goes crazy because he's invisible.
Yeah. Did you see
Stuff
the
like,
recent one that came out last year, or the year before?
Oh, I heard about it. I know I know the plot of it, and I'm like, oh, that sounds like awesome. I wish I didn't hear the plot of it, so I could have just seen it and enjoyed it. So I'm trying to put it off long enough to where I forget everything about it.
It's really good. Yeah, I mean it
It sounds sweet.
it's a fantastic
I've always
movie.
been a fan of Invisible Man shit.
Like if Universal had done that good of a job with all the monster movies they were trying to do, then they might have actually been able to pull off this, Universal expanded universe thing they were trying to do. Instead,
makes
we
me
got
sad
that
that
Tom
it,
Cruise mummy film. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It makes me sad that they messed it up. But anyways, the last question was number 5, favorite horror villain. So last question, number 6, favorite horror.
Favorite horror.
Favorite horror.
Oh God, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know where to begin with that question. Who's yours?
Who? What?
Who's yours?
You first. I'm the one asking questions here. It's 666, Dead by 28, up in this. Answer the question. Favorite horror.
Favorite horror. I don't know.
Yuki, you want to answer?
Yeah, my favorite horror is me.
My favorite horror is Luke.
So, yeah, one time when I was performing at Archon in St. Louis, I was in a situation where I was doing a show, things were going great, and the show came to what was supposed to be its end, but there was whatever was supposed to happen next in the room, I guess, maybe got canceled or there was nothing else scheduled, and the audience was having a good time and I was having a good time, and Sarah was my wife at the time, who is an awesome person and is currently married to Ian, who is they're awesome. But Sarah was off at the merch table, kind of by the door, kind of handling stuff, and the crowd seemed like they wanted just me to keep performing because there was nothing else going on. I might as well keep doing a show, and I kind of realized, well, I mean, that's fun for me, but Sarah's sitting over there. Maybe she doesn't feel like continuing to sit over there or whatever. So I just said on the mic like, "Hey, I'm fine with keeping going here, but I just want to make sure, Sarah's okay with it." So over the mic, I'm like, Sarah, I know I'm just up here being an attention whore, but is it okay with you if the show keeps going, or do you, or should I wrap things up? Like, what do you think? And she just yelled from the back, "I love you, whore!" And then the show kept going. So that kind of became a line that Sarah would say to me once in a while. "I love you, whore."
A term of endearment.
Yes, as a term of endearment. So
my favorite thing to call out during our comedy concerts, Worm Quartet has a song called "My Wife," which is about his wife. And he was asking for requests one day, and I shouted, "Do my wife!" And he's like, "Did you just say do my wife?"
I'm into it.
So that's been kind of a recurring thing that I shout out at Worm Quartet shows now and then.
I shout that out a lot. I just shout that out in general, usually. Anyways, my favorite horror is 80s slasher, but I have a strong interest in the Hammer movies.
Okay.
That's my favorite horror. I was talking about horror genre.
Okay. I thought you wanted me to name a woman like a favorite whore.
That filthy mind.
Not
the
going
filthy
there.
Mind thinks what it wants to think.
For horror, or horror, as they did on that Whose Line Is It Anyway sketch.
That's our song.
I'm partial to monster movies myself. And they don't have to be giant monsters.
It's the old black and whiteies.
Some of them, yeah, but I like movies like Cloverfield and
Sci-fi 50s.
The Host. If you've ever seen that one, a Korean film, it's fantastic. And The Thing, movies like that, I enjoy. But I like all kinds. Go ahead, Luke.
There's an anime show based on a manga that is out on I know it's on Hulu. I'm not sure if it's on other platforms. Called Chainsaw Man, and it is wild. It's basically like in this like weird anime alternate reality thing, where there's like, humans and like these different weird kind of demons, and this one like 15, 16-year-old kid had like a little pet demon who looked like an adorable little kind of bean-shaped dog that had like a little kind of chainsaw blade for a nose, and also like a handle in the thing's back, and like it had like a pull thing, so like he could kind of wield the demon as a thing. But then he and the little demon dog thing got like they were involved with something, and they both got like shot or hurt, and they were both going to die. And then the demon basically crawled inside the guy and like kind of joined with him to help save his life. So now this guy, like, he looks normal most of the time, but he has a thing hanging out of his chest where if he goes in it and he pulls on it like a chainsaw thing, he like his head transforms into like basically a giant chainsaw with like a weird teethy mouth, and then he has chainsaw blades coming out of both of his arms, and then he basically goes and fights other demons, and he's just like freaking crazy, and he ends up part of this like anti-demon group working for the government, and he has other demon friends there. And it's such insanity, and it's hilarious, and it's like full of beautifully drawn anime gore. So
what what I think it is?
What?
The episode of The Beast.
Yes. Woo!
Thank you.
That's what it sounded like to me.
That sounds wonderfully demented.
Wonderfully demented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We lost the Twitch stream for a moment. I had to restart the stream. We're talking about my ISP and how much it sucks, and how my bandwidth keeps going down to 0. And so,
what you gonna do when the FuMP goes down?
Yeah.
The FuMP goes down. The FuMP goes down.
We can do that. I'm totally up for doing that if you want to do that.
It's like, hey, that's an idea. I have no interest in putting effort into things right now.
When the FuMP goes down, you better be ready. When the FuMP goes down.
Another horror animated thing I could mention is the Mighty Mantisaur's episode Little Sword of Horror that I storyboarded, which is where Prohyas finds a plant that a Mantisaur that's basically a plant that's like a giant carnivorous, Audrey 2 looking thing, and it starts eating everything.
I remember that. Yes, that's a good one.
Yeah, so you can find that episode on Amazon Video and then pay money to watch it, because why would there be any other way to watch it? God. Anyway.
Yeah, speaking of animated horror, if you're into that type of thing, the Castlevania show on Netflix is really good. So I highly recommend that. I know we've talked about that in the past, but it's really good. First episode has a demon carrying a dead baby in his mouth. They zoom in on it too. It's fantastic. And my bandwidth is down to 0 again. Motherfucker.
Satan in the house.
Nobody loves the comedy bandwidth.
Nice. Yep. I may be looking for a new ISP, except I don't have any options. It's Monopoly. Mana. Yeah. Stream dropped again. All right. Is it back? All right.
It's almost like this episode has a curse on it.
Yeah, do you think?
Demonic curse.
Maybe it was a bad idea. We should just skip 666 and go right to 667, the neighbor of the beast.
That was my plan all along.
Yeah, there's a band called Travis Shred and the Good Old Homeboys who do country metal rap, and it's not like a combination of that into one genre. It's like the chorus of the song will be country, the verse will be rap, and then the bridge will be metal, and it just jumps back and forth like that. And one of their albums is called 667, The Neighbor of the Beast, which I always thought was brilliant.
The neighbor. I like that.
I love those guys.
I'm gonna kick out of that.
So what else you guys been up to?
Well, the big thing we've been doing is working with a new bass player with the intention of returning to the stage sometime at the end of the year, maybe in the fall, and doing some shows again. Makes it a lot easier to try to do a show when he doesn't have to sing and play bass at the same time. So
I like doing that.
We got this guy who's working with us, and he's actually been recording some of the bass lines for our next new album. In addition to that, we recut a new version of our Nirvana cover of Negative Creep with the live version of the band as kind of a quick song we could throw together and release. So that'll probably be coming out in the near future. We want to do a full-length new album sometime in September or October, and then hopefully play some shows to promote it. And that's our main goal, but we also have a surprise that we want to release sometime in the next couple months that's just going to show up out of nowhere.
Okay, cool. That sounds great. What about drums? Do you have a drummer who's willing to play live?
Actually, we do. Our sessions drummer is the person who recruited the bass player, and he had told us if we were interested in bringing him on as the bass player that he would be interested in doing shows. So it kind of worked out very well.
Nice.
And both of these two musicians have worked with our guitar player Sissy in the past and have been in bands with him. So they're a very tight-knit group.
Bluebeard.
And he works very well with us, and he's only been around for about a month, but we're excited about the new music, and he's got a different style of bass playing, so it's interesting to work somebody like that into the mix. He's got more of a Primus bass feel.
Oh, wow,
so
okay.
We have more of a different style normally, but it still seems to work very well with the new music that we're creating. So we're doing a lot of music, probably got 15 or 20 songs in the works, and the best of that material will probably end up on a new album, and maybe we'll throw a single or something out there. But, we're going to really focus on that, and you might not see us on the FuMP for a little bit while we're, focusing on the new album. But when we come back, we got some stuff specifically started to push for the FuMP when we're ready to.
That would be really cool. I'm looking forward to.
I also have a collab in mind for the very end of the year. Wink, wink.
Okay. Sure, whatever. Me, I'm easy. I'm a whore. I can do anything.
It's holiday themed.
Oh, a holiday themed. Okay,
I told you about it at least quite a while ago.
Sounds like we even got more material we're working on.
I always have tons of shit.
Nice.
Other than that, we're locked down in the studio. We're going to release She's a Horror as on all the platforms and stuff on April 7th. Just so as a way to get it out there. Mm-hmm. I know it'll end up coming out on the FuMP compilation.
We're renaming it Bad Friday. Badass Friday, motherfucker.
Okay. All right, cool. So do you guys have anything you'd like to plug?
I don't know.
We would like to ask you all, everybody out there watching the show, if you know somebody who's a whore or who likes horrors, make sure you tag this song and let them know by tagging the video for this song onto their Facebook or whatever social media. Help us spread the word.
All right, sounds good.
I like tequila.
All right, we're going to do some news. Are you guys sticking around or are you taking off?
We're staying.
All right.
Stuck with us.
Big on news.
Sounds good. All right, here's a promo.
This is the FuMP.
Inclusion over isolation.
ABC, it's all about democracy. ABC, exposing the GOP. Yeah!
See a couple of dogs with more love than they've got. When they see us holding hands, they wish that they were geeks and love. And when they hear our favorite bands, they wish that they were geeks.
That's the Funny Music Project at thefump.com. THEFUMP.com.
Oh, the big 5-0. It hits you like a bomb. Your libido is waning and your memory is gone. You can well not say goodbye to get up and go. Howdy do, welcome to the big 5-0.
Time for funny music news. Something.
In the news, Mikey Mason has a new book coming out called Confessions of a Geek Bard. It is being released on June 1st through Falstaff Books. This is a collection of song lyrics and stories, personal stories, gaming stories, convention stories, and tales from the life of a traveling comedian. There is no pre-order for the regular edition at this time. However, you can pre-order the limited edition, which is a signed numbered hardcover edition with special cover art by Davey Beauchamps, and it comes with a CD featuring many of the song lyrics discussed in the book. You can pre-order the special edition now at mikeymason.com, or it will be available in bookstores on June 1st.
That's cool.
Daniel Radcliffe has gotten another nomination for Weird the Al Yankovic Story, this time the BAFTA TV Awards. Daniel has been nominated for Best Male Performance in a Comedy Program. So congratulations. It's amazing. You put out a good, funny movie, it gets awards. It's amazing, you know?
Who would have thought?
I know. And this Sunday, if you're in the Chicago area, is Robbie Ellis's monthly show, The Sunday Fizz. This month featuring Gail Gallagher, Groovebox, Deanna Ortiz, and Mike Gospel. Go to robbieellis.net for more information. All right, Luke, you got anything else before tour dates?
Yeah, just something I did this week as an experiment, because, I don't know. On one hand, it's like I really should... I should let it go, so to speak, and just let things, happen how they happen, but I don't know. There's a part of me that has trouble letting it go. Like taking into account the fact that last year on Dr. Demento's Funny 25 Countdown, there was only one song on it that was from the FuMP.com. That was the song Brandon by Worm Quartet. And the reason...
that's a worthy song.
Yeah. So...
If there is one.
Yeah, so... basically...
I understand what you
before
mean.
Before the big change happened at Facebook and suddenly... like a giant deluge of tens of thousands of people who, weren't previously, just kind of let into the Dr. Demento Facebook group were let in for, from 2007 until a handful of years ago, the FuMP was, putting out at least 2 new songs a week, and Dr. D would listen to them, and he would often play one or both of them on his show. And they would, the fans who actually listen to the show every week would hear them and, be like, oh, those songs are awesome. I'm going to request those songs. And then, so that, the top 10 would, invariably have a lot of tracks from the FuMP on it. And at the end of the year, the Funny 25 Countdown was not just, tracks from the FuMP, but also the focus of it was tracks that actually came out within that calendar year. And, and then there would be like a handful of the standard classics would be in there, like, Pencil Neck Geek made number 24, or whatever, But I really loved, like, that was from when I started listening to Dr. D back in the mid 90s. Like, that was always the part that interested me the most, is which songs at the end of the year in the Funny 25 actually came out that year. Like, what were the top new funny songs of that year? And every year back then, it would be like maybe 7 of the songs were new to that year or whatever. And then during that whole, that whole 2007 to, the end of the 2010s, the majority of the Funny 25 Countdown was either, it was basically FuMP tracks and tracks that were new to that year, or maybe it were only 1 or 2 years old or something, So then that big change happened at Facebook, and now there's this deluge of tens of thousands of boomers who aren't listening to the show every week, but, love remembering all the old songs. And then anytime any rando person is like, does anybody remember, poisoning pigeons in the park? And then that would get like, 700 likes. And then some new song by, Devo Spice would only get like 12 likes or something. I don't know.
The travesty.
Yeah. And so basically ever since that happened, the top 10 is now basically, all tracks from the, 20th anniversary CD collection. And if we're lucky, maybe 1 or 2 of them was an actually new song by, somebody, anybody, So that has kind of been bugging me the past few years, that it just seems like, since about, I don't know, whenever it was,
It's a shame there's not some kind of way for these people to watch the songs that they enjoyed from the past.
Yeah.
Without them having to be on a current show.
Plus the fact that it just kind of bothers me, like,
or Spotify.
If anyone understands, it's us, because we fucking covered fish heads and we still can't. People are still just like, don't care about your fish heads. I just
and you know what? If all 90
no hate the Barnes and Barnes. I love Barnes and Barnes. If there's any band that like we are like a new generation of, it's Barnes and Barnes.
Yeah.
That's the band. Like,
and if all 98,500 whatever people in the group were actually listening to the show every week, so that I knew Dr. D was getting that web traffic and, the money from that web traffic, because it's a pay-per streaming show. If all those people who are making those requests were all listening, and I knew that for sure, then I'd be fine. Let them have it. But I know they're not. They're just in the group because they remember Dr. Demento, and they're all clicking like on the old songs, and those songs are making the top 10, and they don't listen to the show. So it doesn't matter to them. So
they just care about nostalgia. They don't care about the future of demented music and comedy music in general.
So anyway, what I did...
It's hard for me. I'm not a comedy guy. I'm just really fucking crazy and strange and demented.
No.
Yeah. So...
No, I'm not a comedian. I'm like Andy Kaufman. I don't know. comedy. I don't know how to make a joke. I'm just fucked up. And
So the thing I did, because last year what I did was I would make posts every, like the Monday before,
I like your posts.
thank you. Generally speaking, from what I've been led to understand, Dr. D tends to record his episodes on Wednesdays, and then they get posted that following Saturday. So, the best day to like alert people to like the song request, especially if it's the episode that's going to be the top 10, is to do it like the Monday morning before the that Saturday episode, so that those posts are fresh and get likes and get noticed and everything, and then Dr. D goes through and sees, what has been getting the requests that week that'll end up, or what posts have been getting the most likes that will end up becoming the top 10. So last year what I did was I just used that thing that Facebook has where if you type a short enough message, it has like, the nice big letters on a color background, and it would be like request for the top 10 Brandon by Worm Quartet. And that's what I would do every Monday. And, that worked well enough to get Brandon into the Funny 25, which was, great. So this year what I decided to do as a further experiment to see what I can do to make this work on the Facebook group that will hopefully grab attention and likes is I whipped up a couple of images, one for Bonnie Gordon's song, 4 Letters, the ADHD song. So I just made an awesome image with her.
I thought that was good.
That was like, this post is a request for Bonnie Gordon, for Dr. Meadows Top 10 for March 2023. And then I put at the bottom, if you want to, if you want to see the song make the top 10 as well, click like with an arrow pointing down to where the like buttons are. So I made one for Bonnie. And then even though it's, a bit crass possibly, again, this is an experiment. I made one for my song, The Letterman, saying, hey, if you would like to request this song, blah, 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 and then basically the same thing. So
I thought your song in general was just like a good, like, kind of like, I don't know how to say it, like, like the older generations could like enjoy that.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like a low-key way of like, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. It's like I kind of, as a Gen Xer, it's like I friggin' love Late Night with David Letterman, and I'm sure Boomers watched it too. It's like, I've tried. It's not like I'm going out of my way to try to appeal to Boomers or whatever, but I'm kind of surprised that Dr. D never played my song, The Twilight Zone, because a lot of people have told me
I like that
song. That song is I love
The Twilight Zone.
I love that song. It's one of my favorite songs from your album.
Yeah, and Dr. D has never played it, and I don't know why. It's like, it's.
I've questioned myself millions of times, but not millions. That's going like very far. A couple times.
So anyway, so basically, I posted those 2 images on Tuesday morning, which I should have done it Monday morning, but whatever. My life is weird. So I posted them both Tuesday morning and just kind of. Let's see what happens and see, because it's not just a matter of posting it in the Dr. Demento group. I was also trying to cross-post links to that post from other Facebook groups and pages, and even on Twitter and on Instagram, to try to get people to click on the link to go to that post and also click like on it to see if I could amass as many likes on both of those images as possible to try to get, one or both of those songs in the top 10 this month. And I also got to point out, this is the worst possible month for me to attempt to start this experiment, because this month's top 10 is going to be all Robert Hamer or Jerry Samuel songs.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's still like, it's been weak, like, no offense to like people who are, but like, And
that's that's kind of as it should be. Like, of course, people are going to be pouring on the request for those songs this month and to honor both of those people. So basically, my hope is like, well, let me see if I can get, either Botany's song or my song into, like at number 10 and number 9, on the top 10 or something.
That's reasonable.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's like I made myself. I tried to basically make myself a promise, years ago, that I was going to, for the most part, let it go and not be super concerned anymore about whether or not any songs I come up with end up making Dr. Demento's, top 10s or funny 25s or whatever. The last major hit I had on his show was the song Candy Bars back in 2017. And then, I know our Circus of What track, It's Hot as Balls Outside, that made the funny 25, but I just haven't had any like major success on the Dr. D show. And then, so like that kind of hand in hand with the fact that, the FuMP tracks aren't making it onto the funny 25 anymore. It's just kind of like, I just feel like, something needs, I want to try something to see if I can figure out some way to make it work that we can get at least a handful of FuMP tracks or tracks that are new to that calendar year on the funny 25 and on the top 10.
Maybe you can get people to request a segment of new music on every show or something, as opposed to trying to just get everybody to vote for one specific song. Maybe if the doctor sees that there's a outcrying to hear new comedy music, that he'll reserve a little space in the show for that.
I mean, he does play new comedy tracks that come in, so it's not like he doesn't play them at all. It's just that
it's like one every.
Well, I meant if there was a reoccurring segment that would give more opportunity on a weekly basis to not be hogged up by songs from the past.
I got a question for the great Luke Ski.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you write the motherfucking T-Rex song?
Yes, I did.
That's something to be proud of.
There's two versions of that song, because I've heard this from other people that have worked with the Nostalgia Critic, is that like basically it'll be like, can you do this thing for me? And I'm like, yeah, I'll work out kind of a rough draft for you. So I make a rough draft version of this thing, this T-Rex song. And it's like, okay, cool. All right, now let's move on to the next step. And then he goes, oh no, this is fine. And then he grabs it and yoink, and he like runs away. And then that rough draft version becomes the version that he uses in his videos. So that's, and he's done that with other acts,
I've heard
other creators as well. So, so what I ended up doing, a year or two later was making what I felt was like the complete finished version of the T-Rex song, which I called the T-Rex song Director's Cut. And the funny thing was all of that like talking stuff that that Nostalgia Critic did, like where the T-Rex is like, yeah, so I'm walking down the street and then this thing happens and like all that. Like I asked him, like, can I get like the clean audio files of that so I can mix it into my song? And he didn't even have them anymore. Like he just, he made the thing and he finished it and then he like threw out the files and he moved on with, whatever was next for Nostalgia Critic videos and stuff. So I basically had to sit down and like listen to the rough draft version and then type out everything he said in the rough draft version so that he had a lyric thing so that he could re-record all that stuff for the director's cut so that I could make the version of the song that I wanted that had the extra chorus lyrics and stuff like that so that I'm in the song more than just saying, I'm the motherfucking T-Rex. It's like...
That's all you needed to say, though.
So, and the weird after effect of all that is like, on Bandcamp, the T-Rex song Director's Cut is my highest selling track on Bandcamp. So, it's like for all the times people try to tell me like, oh, Luke, you're famous, you're a celebrity. Like, yeah, you've done stuff, you have a fan base. It's like my highest selling song on Bandcamp is a song that I happen to do with the Nostalgia Critic. So it's, success by association, basically.
You got songs selling on Bandcamp. I think that's a success alone.
Yeah. Even musicians that are like, considered successful still are like struggling nowadays. Like music is the worst profession to be in.
If you want to make money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Devo, tell them that quote from, what was it, Rob Haravonian about being a comedian and a musician at the same time?
Well, no. You talking about the doing the comedy songs quote?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Rob did a show, Rob Haravonian, and I'm actually performing with him on Saturday at his show in Queens. He has this bit where he did a show and it went great, lots of laughs and everything. And somebody came up to him and said, "Hey man, I really love your show. That was great. It was very funny stuff. Do you have any real songs?"
You have any real songs?
Real song. Yeah. And he's like, No, just these imaginary ones that we can all hear and buy.
But you were saying, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong person, but it was like a comment about the fact like it's like multiplying fractions.
Oh, that's Henry Phillips.
Oh, okay, yeah. Just basically, yeah.
He says he's like, yeah, I have 1 foot in the comedy door and 1 foot in the music door, which means I'm not going anywhere. I'm just kind of humping the wall in between the 2 doors.
But it's like multiplying fractions in that, it's like, oh, here's people who like music, here's people who like comedy, and then like the people who like comedy music, like if you multiply them, it's a smaller
right, it's a smaller number, yes.
So
we
yeah,
don't fit into anything like that at all.
Yeah,
and I just want to say, like, all those comments I made before about like Dr. T's show and the top 10 and the funny 25. It's like, I feel bad for having these thoughts because it's all very I just spaced on the word when you think people owe you stuff.
Entitled.
And that's it. Thank you. I just spaced on that. Entitled. It's a very entitled thing for me to be complaining about. Just like Well, come on, Dr. D. How come your show that you've been doing for 52 years isn't meeting my expectations, huh? It's like, how come it isn't, specifically designed to benefit me directly every week and every year? It's a very entitled thing for me to be complaining about. But so I want to acknowledge that it's like I don't want to. It's like, I don't want to be an asshole. I'm just sitting here trying to figure out, like, okay, how can I reconcile this? I'll come up with some images to post that will maybe get some, garner some requests in a way that will fit this new paradigm and, and come up with a way that, while the show is still on the air and still happening, some friends of mine and maybe occasionally me can still, make these, the top 10 lists and the funny 25, because... so yeah, it's like I feel bad for having these thoughts, but I'm trying to channel the bad thoughts into like, okay, what's a practical way I can address the issue, and try to solve, solve the thing in a way that will make me feel like, okay, here's something I can do that's, within the new paradigm, and that works hopefully. So,
well, best of luck to you.
Yeah,
I have a best friend. Not this guy. He's a motherfucker. But I have a best friend who's really down with the Jesus. And he always tries to remind me how lucky I am to have the small fan base that I do have. And how lucky I am to, like, every 3 months or so to be on this podcast. Because being on a podcast means a lot to me. And this guy.
Being watched by 7 people right now. One of whom is me. So
that's a lot more than some people are watched by.
All right. Let's do some tour dates. We still got 2 more songs to get through. So,
oh my gosh.
I know. I've been excited for the songs, and I like. Longer we go on, I'm just like, where are the songs? As much as I'm enjoying this conversation.
That's because Luke needs to complain like an entitled bitch for another 15 minutes. So
And I'm a narcissist, so I need to get my shit in. Especially when it's the 666 episode. Dead by 28.
All right. Tour dates. On Sundays in Nashville, Tennessee, Steve Goodie hosting at the Bluebird. On Mondays online, Steve Goodie and Brad Tassel at virtualcomedyshow.com. On the 24th in Riverview, Florida, Steve Goodie. On the 24th online, Mikey Mason. On the 25th in Queens, New York, Devo Spice, that's me, with Rob Paravonian, Tim Ellis, and Courtney McGinnis. On the 25th in Tallahassee, Florida, Steve Goodie. On the 26th in Chicago, Illinois, Robbie Ellis with Gail Gallagher, Groovebox, Deanna Ortiz, and Mike Gospel. On the 26th online, Escape from the Secret Lab featuring the Consortium of Genius. On the 26th in Ponchatoula, Louisiana, Steve Goodie. On the 28th in Galveston, Texas, Steve Goodie. On the 28th online, Carla Ulbrich. On the 31st in Dripping Springs, Texas, Steve Goodie. The 31st through the 2nd in Parsippany, New Jersey, the Gothsicles. On the 1st in Columbus, Ohio, 2D6. On the 1st in Muncie, Indiana, Mikey Mason. And on the 3rd online, Carla Ulbrich. And birthdays. Coming up on the 27th, Bonnie Gordon. Happy birthday, Bonnie.
Woo, Bonnie. Yay, she's awesome.
All right. Second song this week is by the guy who's not here, Steve Goodie, although we mentioned him because he's on tour. That's probably what he's doing tonight. He's performing in somebody's house, I would guess. So here is...
I'm going to be on one of his online concert shows like coming up in May. So
oh, cool.
Yay.
Here is Steve Goodie with Waitress.
Every night you deal with drunken jerks. It's your job to make them think that everything they say is hilarious and to keep them buying food and drinks. Laugh at their stupid, inappropriate jokes. Bite your tongue and both your lips. 'Cause the club pays you $2.13 an hour and you need these idiots' tips. So laugh when you feel like screaming. Smile while deep down inside you'd like to disembowel them. Stuff their face in a toilet, then smack them with the towel you used half an hour ago to wipe up that other guy's puke. And smile, 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 and I promise you one day you'll get to your 87th birthday, and you'll pay off your student debt.
As I mentioned, Steve Goodie is doing a tour of house concerts at the moment. He should have all the tour dates listed on his website. Some of them are probably private, but go to stevegoodie.com and he might be coming to your neighborhood soon. All right, let's do some feedback.
Making the internet absolutely ridiculous. Dementia Radio.
www.dementiaradio.org. Port 8027.
Please hang up and try again.
This is the part where there's feedback. 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 You know that segment of the show we do about now? Feedback. Feedback. Feedback.
Alvarant wrote, Ian, want a carpool to FuMPFest? I'll pay for gas and tolls and snacks while you drive. And I forwarded that message to Ian to make sure he saw it, so I'll let them work it out. Although I have a feeling with the number of people coming to FuMPFest from Chicago, maybe it'd be worth like chartering a bus or something and making the return of the party bus.
Yeah, the Dementia Fun Bus, if you will.
Yes. Oh, there's a kitty. Hi, Cubert.
Hey, Cubert. He wants me to go to the store and get him some more licky treats.
Ooh, licky treats. I want a licky treat. All right, we have a third song this week, followed by an interview with Jace McClain. Here is I Don't Know How to Use a Fork, Fake Live Recording by Nuclear Bubble Wrap.
All right.
Of my house, I cooked some eggs in someone how to do it, but I always refuse. So embarrassing and makes me look like a dork. I don't know how to use a fork. I practice using forks every day, stabbing food every time. I tell myself today could be the day, but I can never get it right. I wanna sit down and start eating with what I can never use. I wanna ask someone how to do it, but I always refuse. It's so embarrassing and makes me look like a dork. I don't know how to use a fork.
I'm here with Jace McLean of Nuclear Bubble Wrap. How you doing, Jace?
Good. How are you?
Good. That's a total lie. The site's down. I
know.
With
I
that all
saw.
day.
Oh my god. That's such a like. People in the Needle Juice Discord are like actually like really sad about it.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it'll get back up soon. We have a temporary solution in progress.
Okay.
So
good.
But the downside of that is I haven't actually heard your song yet because I was going to listen to it today, and then So tell us about the song.
Yeah. So this song is actually so this is a song that dates to a really long time ago. Actually, in the description, I put that it's from our very first Nuclear Bubble Wrap album from 2005 called "Something Stupid This Way Comes." But the song actually dates back even further than that. This is a song I wrote when I was like 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it started out as a it was actually a parody of a song from the Pokemon anime. Well, not even from the anime. It was on like the Pokemon To Be a Master soundtrack CD, although I don't think it was ever actually used in the show. But the and that parody version of it went through several iterations before I took the idea and we used it on the very first Nuclear Bubble Wrap album, which is a horrible album. We didn't know what we were doing.
I think I might have it.
Yeah, you might have a copy somewhere. If you have it, like I bet you could sell it for like I don't know how much you could sell it for, but
it's worth so much more as blackmail material.
Yeah. I've seen a copy of it sell for at least $50 before. So
nice.
There's just so few of them out there. But yeah, it was like it was our very first time making music. We literally recorded chunks of the album when we were in high school, having like sleepovers basically, where we would like work on the album like all night, from 7 p.m. till like 5 a.m. kind of stuff. And this was one of those songs I think that came out of the very first like recording sessions for the album. We didn't even know how to use click tracks. It was just a mess. And so this version of the song that you hear is years later when we were making Exploding Head Syndrome, and a lot of the music we were making was actually like competent. And we knew how much better we were at making music by this point. We wanted to try to play a prank on Brendan where we recorded some like fake acoustic live recordings of some of these old songs from these old Nuclear Bubble Wrap albums that we had kind of disowned by that point. And we were gonna try to convince him that we were playing a show where there were people actually like requesting these old songs, and we just like decided to bust them out. It was a total lie, But yeah, it was a little prank we played on him. I think he actually bought it, and then like later we told him like no, that these were actually fake. But yeah, this is just like we just randomly re-recorded this song. I don't know how to use a fork, and you're getting just a raw performance from this little prank we were playing.
Nice. You could have actually performed it live, like at MarsCon, and recorded it there. And,
Yeah. That would have been cool. We should have done that. We should have done that on the party bus. That would have been funny.
Oh yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah.
Did we record anything on the party bus?
I think I looked for them. I asked Luke for all of the MarsCon recordings he had. He did not have any recordings from the party bus.
I don't remember anybody recording anything on the party bus.
Yeah, I don't think it got recorded, which is unfortunate because it's a pretty historical moment.
Yeah, that was a fun weekend. I mean, I performed on that bus too.
Yeah, so did Austin.
It was so weird performing, standing up, going 50 miles an hour that way.
Yeah. And I remember the beer keg spilled.
Yes.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah, I was not on that particular route, but I heard about it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. There were two. Were there two?
They kept cycling out with different bands at different times because there just wasn't room on the bus for everybody at the same time.
Yeah,
so
I forgot that's how it worked.
Yeah.
I remember that on my route it was me as Nuclear, like all three of us performed, and then as Nuclear Bubble Wrap, and then Austin did a solo show. And he did a bunch of like Smashy Claw material that hadn't been released yet, so that was kind of historical and cool. And then I think Rob actually played. I forgot if anyone else did. I think it was just like maybe it was just us two and Rob. But yeah,
I think on my route it was me and Worm Quartet.
Oh yeah.
And I'm trying to think if anybody else was on that route. I don't remember. Yeah, that was a long time ago. I don't.
Yeah,
remember.
I know. It was like over 10 years ago.
Yes. I can't remember what I had for breakfast. You expect to remember something to happen 10 years ago.
I know, right?
So this is not the parody version. This is the original version.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. This is like Kyle had like a little like chord progression that he came up with, and we just kind of I took the lyrics to that parody I had written, and I just like shoved it into this chord progression.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is not a parody. But it is those same lyrics. And this particular recording is, of course, I am now promoting this massive box set. Ooh, there's a camera here. I should actually go get it. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, we have these. This is Heady Explosions, 12 years after Exploding Head Syndrome. You get this 4 CD box set with basically everything we recorded during this era of the band from like 2009 to 2012. Basically every single thing we recorded is here.
Nice.
It's very, very, very completionist, very collector's edition kind of stuff. And this is going to be the only way to get a bunch of this material for like the foreseeable future. So you get these 4 CDs. This one is Exploding Head Syndrome. Of course, now it actually has all of the material from Abracadaver added to it.
Ooh, nice.
So you get all of that material, and it has this. All of the CDs have like an essay that I wrote inside of it, and you get all of this stuff. You get pictures and just this massive essay and credits and liner notes. Disc 2 is all of the contents from You Are What You Eat, which was the EP we did before Exploding Head Syndrome, and then you get a whole bunch of just like other random recordings we did around that time. A lot of like cover songs. You get like, there's a cover of Vampire Penguins. There's a cover of Carrot Juice's Murder. There's a bunch of like They Might Be Giants covers. There's Fish Fucker, of course, is on here.
Of course.
Yeah. And it looks a lot nicer. It has this nice little like swamp green tray card to match the aesthetic. Then you get the third disc. This is a whole bunch of demos and live recordings. This is actually a picture from the party bus.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and you get a whole bunch of just like unreleased stuff here. You get a bunch of there's some MarsCon recordings, and just like demos and cool stuff. And I think on the inside there's it's probably just more essay. I forget if there's more. Oh yeah. There's some like live. There's some like pictures of us playing live in here. There's this picture that was taken at MarsCon, which I always thought was pretty cool. I like that picture. And then disc 4, the real crown jewel, is Graze the Skylines. So Graze the Skylines is like this like insane project where Kyle and I just like created alter ego versions of ourselves as like a lo-fi indie band, and we just kind of recorded just whatever came to mind. There's no rhyme or reason to any of it. A lot of it's ridiculous. A lot of it makes no sense. It was just pure, just record something, anything, whatever comes out. Don't even save the project file. You know, it's as of the moment as it can possibly be. Kyle drew this lovely new piece of artwork for it, and then you get some fun little artwork. You get this little like fake bio of who Grace the Skylines is and who me and Kyle's alter egos are. You get these terrible drawings I made. Yeah, it's just this is you get these fun pictures. This is just this really cool little box set. We're gonna do 3 Nuclear Bubble Wrap box sets. And the next one that's going to come is probably going to be the dreaded high school albums. So.
All the crap you want buried, you're going to release it in a box set. That's good move.
Yes. Because people want it.
Okay. All right. So where can people go to order this lovely new box set?
You can go to needlejuicerecords.com, or you can go to nuclearbubblerap.bandcamp.com, and either one of those places you will be able to get the box set. Bandcamp also has a complete download if all you want is that as well.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, sir. Best of luck with the box set.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will catch you next time.
Yeah, thanks a whole bunch.
Teasing. He's a teasing kind of guy. Now you have a job.
Yeah. Teasing. Tomorrow's song is by Mike Holt. If you don't remember his name, he's the guy who did 23 and Me sometime last year. And Tuesday's song. Go ahead.
I need to address something important because you guys so the party bus thing from MarsCon 2011, there were indeed concerts on those bus, and they were indeed recorded. There were 4 trips that night. The first trip, the performers were me, Carrie, and Power Salad. The second trip was Gifted Gear, Emmy, and Beth Kinderman. The third trip was Odd Austin, Nuclear Bubble Wrap, and Steve Goodie. And the fourth trip was Devo, Spice, Rob Balder, and Worm Quartet. So when he asked me for all those concert recordings, I totally forgot that they were there the year that the party bus happened. So I didn't specifically do searches for the phrase, party bus audio. I just searched for, Nuclear Bubble Wrap or NBW or whatever. So I need to see if I still have all of the original sound files, because I could potentially give them that concert as well as a thing they could send off to people or include in a future whatever. But if you go to MarsConComedy.com and click on the past fundraisers page, the 2012 fundraiser, which has live tracks from MarsCon 2011, has a whole big chunk of performances and just wacky audio from when from the whole party bus set of concerts. So that is a thing, and I just wanted to state all of that for the record.
Cool. You may want to drop Jason an email just to let him know.
Yeah, I'll let him know. Also, just if that isn't enough of an incentive to get people to go purchase specifically the year 2012 fundraiser for the Conscience of MarsCon 2011, that is also the year Shut Up Ian happened. And that's one of the tracks on the album. From when that meme was born. So anyway, yeah. Go on, Devo.
And Tuesday's song is by the New Orleans Steam Cog Orchestra.
Woohoo!
And this week's
that song's bananas.
We'll find out. And this week's Spotify playlist topic is evil, because it's 666. I figured evil. Yeah.
Evil.
Evil. Yeah.
Really?
Evil. Yeah. Evil.
You got a perfect song for that. It's called A Thing Called Evil.
Nice.
It's not funny though.
Oh.
It's about Evil Dead.
It's got some
good.
funny stuff in it. I think it's kind of humorous in a way.
All right. So Nuclear Bubble Wrap is at nuclearbubblewrap.com and needlejuicerecords.com. Steve Goodie's at stevegoodie.com. Dead by 28. Plug yourself one more time.
We are on Facebook and YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and She's a Horror will be everywhere on the digital services on April 7th.
Yeah, we got all kind. We're just constantly putting out stuff.
You'll be sick of us even before you know it.
Our next thing is very evil and controversial.
Ooh.
And funny.
Nice.
And funny.
As long as it's funny, that's all I care about.
Kind of old school.
All right. Let's get out of here. Thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. I'm Devo Spice.
I'm Luke Ski.
And there's Dead by 28.
Bye, Devo and Luke Ski.
Bye.
We're Dead by 28.
Thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. You can listen live every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific at DementiaRadio.org and join us in the chat. Or subscribe to the podcast feed. Look us up on iTunes and be sure to leave us a review. Feedback for the show can be sent to info@thefump.com. The Funny Music Podcast is a production of Fidem Interactive, LLC, released under a Creative Commons share-alike license. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, shout it to random people on the street, and be sure to visit thefump.com for the latest funny songs. Tune in next week where you'll hear Luke Ski say,
"It's evil, I tell you! Evil! I just want attention."